Hi all, it's Teresa. I love working with acrylic paints. Well, I just finished painting this thrift store frame that cost me $8, and I'm using it to frame this colored pencil drawing I did of the rock garden in my backyard. So let me show you how I did it. So this is how the frame looked originally, and it was the size I wanted, 16 by 20, and I also needed a frame that had glass. This is actually not a wood frame, it's just a laminated surface that has a wood grain effect on it. And it did have a few blemishes. I had to sand those out. I couldn't get the glass out of this frame, so I just left it in and I taped it up with painter's tape so I don't get the paint on the glass. I'm starting with this orange acrylic paint, and these small bottles of acrylic paint, I just get them at the craft store and they're only a few dollars, so I end up using these for everything. I wanted to use this orange color as a base coat because I want a nice bright look to the finished frame. I watered down the orange quite a bit and I put only one coat on it. You can still see the simulated wood grain of the frame, which is really nice. Then I went to this burnt sienna acrylic paint and I smeared some on with my fingertip, and I just did it here and there on the frame to make it look more like wood. After that, I used this black acrylic paint in a very small brush to add little pinholes and wormholes and little scratches, and I made a real random pattern with these. Some larger marks and a lot of smaller ones and some little scratch marks here and there. So I wanted to tone down the whole frame color, and I didn't have any brown. So if you mix complementary colors together, you will get a brown. So I used this bright green and engine red, and I did get a nice brown color. Using these chipped out brushes, these are old brushes, I chipped them out so I can make a wood grain effect. And I just dragged the watered down brown paint with those chipped out brushes all along the frame sections. And you just have to make sure in the corners that you don't overlap the grain marks that you're making. So I wanted to add one more color, and I'm using this burgundy. And with these nice soft brushes, I watered down the paint a little. And again, I just randomly painted that burgundy color here and there on the frame, just to give it some more color variations. And it's starting to really look like wood, I think. And in between all of these steps, I always let the frame dry for at least an hour. So now I'm using this burnt sienna, and again I have it watered down. I just wanted to tone the color of the frame down a little bit. I let everything dry overnight, and as a last step I used this gloss varnish. I wanted it to be glossy, and I used a soft brush to apply one coat all over the frame. After that dried for a couple hours, I smeared this copper metallic acrylic paint with my fingertip on the raised edges of the frame, just to give it a little shimmer. Here's the finished frame, and I actually really love it. I did want a nice, deep, rich color on this frame, and I like how it turned out. And if you compare it to the original $8 thrift store frame, I think it looks pretty good. I actually do think this looks like wood, too. I think it does set my colored pencil drawing off really nicely. And this dark blue matte board that I used does set the drawing off nicely from the frame too. So I hope this gave you some good ideas of how you can paint thrift store frames and save a lot of money on your framing needs. And if you like this video, can I ask you to please give it a thumbs up? So thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate the viewer support. Bye-bye.